maximizing the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Does that sound a little abstract to you? Let's put it this way. Sustainable development means that growth must be accomplished with respect for nature and humankind. And where is sustainability achieved? Right here at the crossroads of economic goals, social responsibility, and environmental protection. Now, are you wondering whether a company can combine respect for the environment, social equity, and commercial success? Well, the answer is yes. Not only that, but sustainable development creates value. Here's how. Upgrading production tools to use less energy and water is good for the environment and for the pocketbook. Offering eco-designed products and packaging that use just what's necessary saves materials and reduces shipping costs. Paying attention to employees, improving their quality of life at work, and helping them develop their skills all serve to strengthen their engagement. And stronger employee engagement means better overall performance. Forest populations means opening new markets, the ones whose populations are going to grow the fastest between now and 2050. Monitoring the working conditions offered by suppliers and subcontractors means minimizing risks that could damage the company's image. As you can see, sustainable development affects just about everything. More and more companies today understand that they have important economic, social, and environmental responsibilities and are committed to making a difference. The ones that seize this opportunity to create value will find that their success is, in a word, sustainable.
Okay, so this was an end. Now we are having some slides that we will be directly talking about this subject, that what is sustainable development all about and what are the SDGs. So if we want to talk about it just in one sentence, we can say that sustainable development is the development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Well, it was 2015 that 17 interlinked global goals were set by the United Nations General Assembly. And these goals are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. That's why they call them the Agenda 2030. The main purpose of these goals were to have more sustainable future for all people around the world, and was no nation limitations. Here are the 17 sustainable development goals. The first one is no poverty. 2, zero hunger. 3, good health and well-being. 4, quality education. And we have gender equality, clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and productions. 30, climate action. 40, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and a strong institution. And 17, which is the most important one, as young leaders around the world said, and according to the United Nations, which is the partnerships for the goals. Now, these were the goals that we wanted to talk about them in this session. These are sustainable.
Okay, I think there was a connection problem and we just lost Hossein. I think, and I hope he get back in a minute. So just, oh, he's back. Hossein.
Sorry, it was a bug. Okay. Now, I was saying, let me just start sharing my screen again. Sorry for that problem. Okay, now you know what are the SDGs and have a concept of them. Now Roberto will be directly talking about these goals and how we can achieve them as young people around the world. Roberto, you can start. I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Hossein. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to assist to this session. I see a lot of people from all over the world, from Mexico, from India, from Iran, and from Indonesia. So feel very welcome, everybody, to this session. It's really a pleasure to have these little minutes to talk about sustainable development and why it is so important to talk in a youth perspective and how we can take action for the sustainable development. As the video of sustainable success that Hossein shared was sharing, we all heard about sustainability, and maybe the word in your language, for example, in Mexico, is sostenible or sustentable. But it is important to know what this really means for us, what this means for everybody, for people's life. So by 2060, the Sustainable Development Goals, the Sustainable Development Agenda, as we can see right now, this beautiful and color image with 17 goals is telling that by 2050, the inequality gap in our societies, the trend is that inequality increase, but this would only increase if we keep following those patterns of inequality. If we were following those patterns of consumption and production, we right now known due to COVID-19, which is also very important to mention, we now know the relationship between all countries. We might seem separated, we might seem far away, but the reality is that we are all more connected than ever, not only because of supply chain, but because of telecommunications and social media and the internet especially. So we now know the impact of some really little virus in China, the impact that have on the world right now, and how something that actually does not even have life but only have an ADN chain, how can change and shape this new reality for everybody. So that's why sustainable developments take action, and this very important point. We have 17 goals. They are all interconnected and interrelated. No one is more important than another. Talking about in complex methodology, they are all important, because for in order to have no poverty, we need to have a really a close distribution in our societies. Let's just think that we are fighting poverty, but in a state or in a country that is uh, full of corruption, it is impossible, because the money and the distribution that's going to supposed to go to the people, it is vanished from this change with people and business and all interferences. So it is important that we realize the 17 goals, how poverty it is interrelated to peace, justice, and a strong institution. To have peace, we need justice, and justice is only provided by the government, by the institutions. So in order to have justice, we need to strong institutions. So in order to have strong institutions, we need to fight corruption. So how do we fight corruption? How do we fight poverty? So it is actually possible to fight poverty all over the world. It is possible that there is no more poverty. And the answer is yes. I don't want to go around and make a little game of words. The answer is yes, and it is possible, but it might not be possible or seems impossible if we still thinking and still acting the same way as the past generations. When we focus more on production, when we focus more on in a specific part of the society and give them all the resources, just like we just realized due to COVID-19. So now we're seeing in SDG number 3, good health and well-being, the importance of have a healthy lifestyle, a healthy um, uh, regime where we have a good uh, increase of calories. This might seem a little bit weird to focus those words of how do you consume, how many calories, how do you spend it, and so on. But it is important. We see it right now in COVID-19 that healthy life it actually help us to fight COVID better than people with diabetes, with obesity, and other cardiac problems. So everything is interconnected, as I was telling before. Also, education is one of the main important topics on the Sustainable Development Goals, but each one take an individual relevance depending on the country. For example, talking on Mexico, Mexico is a country where we have a lot of resources that historically is rich on resources, just like many other countries. But the main thing that we need to fight, for example, and the government is taking action, is to fight corruption. So we all can have a better distribution in the resources and the program. So we focus on the people. We focus to reduce inequalities. Sustainable Development Agenda has a heart, the heart and the beats of the Sustainable Development Agenda, and how uh, inequality is going to grow. It's just because one topic that we are not taking yet too serious, and that is climate change. We see in SDG number 6, clean water and sanitation. We also have it on SDG 12, which is consumption and production, and SDG 13, 14, and 15. How do we know climate change? What's actually climate change? What it is important to talk about the oceans? What it is important to talk about biodiversity? And the way that we consume and product not only our food, talking about the consumption of meat. And that is something that Hossein showed in the video. How in 2050 are we going to still feeding and still giving the resources to the people? We know we have human rights, but there a limit to provide these human rights? I wouldn't say yes to that question. There's not a limit. We can say that there's a limit of population at the moment, but it is important to highlight and understand that the only limit and the impossibility to give these human rights to the people is actually the government. The government needs an infrastructure to provide these human rights. It's not the same to provide clean water on a city, clean water on a small town that have no this infrastructure. So that's why the state and the infrastructure it is highlighted on the Sustainable Development Goals. So because of time, I'm going to rush a little bit. This image is about the Millennium Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals is just the heritage of these Millennium Development Goals, and where we also focus on poverty and hunger. This was mainly in the early 2000s, and now we have these Sustainable Development Goals, where our main challenge, our main focus is to focus on climate action and climate change. We just to mention some things, climate change threats everybody with the increase of heat and weather, the spontaneous change of weather, but also migration because of the loss of lands in Central America, in Asia. So people are going to stop moving because they don't have this possibility, or they lost their lands, something that is already happened. And also because of conflict, we see in Central America with Honduras and El Salvador, we've seen these kind of problems, and also in the Middle East, which we cannot just avoid on this session, but we can understand the complexity of everyone, of each one. On this map, we see the inequality bridge in every country. And the countries with no color, for the people from the continent of Africa, we have no data on. And in the red countries air is like the worst valuated, and green is the better valuated. So that's when we talk about inequality. We also see in this map the relative that first world countries are actually quite not true. If we only see the countries that have the green color, we see there are really small countries with really small population, or are countries with actually no population. So that's why it is important to highlight. For example, in Mexico, we see in Latin America, we see almost a red permanence, also a kind of an orange color, but that's because of historical context, and it's important to highlight to see which countries are more affected to COVID-19 because of the inequality bridge existing. I'd like to share this image with you all, where we see the waves that are coming. Right now, we're focusing COVID-19, which is um, affecting everybody and everyone with stay at home and reduce our mobility. But the next waves are recession, climate change, and the biodiversity collapse. On recession, we talk about the economic effects of our society and how the governments are going to take some action so we can go to established level when we can provide access of basic human rights to everyone, and climate action, which is not a big threat compared to biodiversity collapse. When we lost the relation with the environment, when we have contaminated enough the environment where it's not habitable or where is no life can live. So let's just imagine a small country or a lake where it's contaminated so much that it can be treated, that there's no um, point to get back, or there's no step to take action on these topics. So also it is important to highlight about the SDGs and how are they interconnected, how they work. We have a little bit more data sometimes. As young in some conference, some videos, we talk about sustainability, and the focus on sustainability is to allow and still creating, still living in some way, but don't compromise the living, don't compromise the resources of the next generations. So if we're still consuming like with no control, with no regulation, we might threaten the resources of the next generation. For example, water, air, the air, um, cleaning, and like trees and animals and some other stuff. So it is important to highlight this. And for this, I want to share the 232 SDGs indicators, which are the vertebral spine of the Sustainable Development Goals. How can we achieve the Sustainable Development Goals? How do we end poverty? How do we take actions on climate? How do we know that we are achieving these goals? How do we know they are becoming real? So that's because of data. Data have an important part on the Sustainable Development Goals. With data, we have it's like if we were blind, we were just as in Mexico we say, we're filling the ocean with a little cube, so or with a little cup. It is impossible to know how to measure these impacts and how is the impact that we're achieving, or if actually we're achieving it. So with data, we know how many people is there in poverty, and knowing how many people, we can also know their gender, their age, and prioritize the actions that have to be taken. It's not the same to have a male population or a female population, but also in all population, then a young population. So it is really important to understand this part of the data of the Sustainable Development Goals and what is needed to each SDG to know how many teachers in the SDG 4 of quality education, how many teachers are there, how many students are there. So we know, thanks to data, we can now measure these impacts. We can now measure the action that we're taking. So that's something I just want to highlight. If you want to know more about the Sustainable Development Goals and how they are achieving in each country and the main activities for each continent, the Americas, Africa, Asia, and Oceania, you can consultate the Sustainable Development Goals report, which is a document that has been created since to 2020, since the 2015 agenda came out. So you can report, you can consult from 2015 to 2020. And also it's important to know the impact of COVID-19 on the Sustainable Development Goals. We see that everything it's been um, uh, everything has changed. The connections have been changing. The way that we relate with the society, with democracy, and that also affects the SDGs and how everything is changing, how everything is evolving. So for another session, I was talking with Hossein to talk a little bit more about the framework for the immediate socioeconomic response to COVID-19 and how do we know and how to still getting more information about sustainable development. The responsibility and global solidarity is something that we start talking at the beginning of the pandemic, how we can respond and how we can create a better space and allow the access to basic human rights to the people in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Then that's because of solidarity. We know that the vaccine um, is not reaching all the countries, specifically the poor countries or countries in conflict. So we need to focus, we need to aim and raise our voice so the vaccine and the resources came to all the countries. And also the Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez, the COVID-19 response and the fund program, they found an economic programs to take actions for sustainable development. So if you want to learn more, just because of times, we're running out of time, and we also want to hear some questions from you. Um, I'm rushing with the presentation, but the focus of this conversation is how me as a young people, as a student or as a person that have yet not knowledge about sustainable development goals, how can I start achieving, how can I start working with sustainable development goals? So as I was telling you before, there are plenty documents to consult in the UN and sustainable development goals, also in some other pages as I'm going to share in a minute. In Youth Building the Future Global, we have a lot of documents. We have a videotheque, an image, documentals, and a lot of resources. We also publish the documents there so we can facilitate this searching from you. Right now, there are two campaigns on the world that I think they're really important. We have Fight for 1.5 and Mission 4.7, which was presented both some months ago. Mission 5.7 focus on SDG 4, and point 7 is the indicator number 7, which is the relationship and the connection between government, academia, and social programs. So we need to focus those actions. Every actions that we've taken, we might achieve something. This is something that I always share. We might have achieved something alone, but it's not compared what we can all achieve together. The impact that we have working together, it's huge when we're talking about acting together. So it's important to join forces, to create more connections, to create partnerships so we can achieve the sustainable development goals, and specifically reduce what I mean with achieving the sustainable development goals, to reduce inequality gap in all countries, to allow people, children, and the next generation to access basic human rights. That's why it's so important. And Fight for 1.5 is an initiative coming from Fridays for a Future and Greta Thunberg, where also when the Sustainable Development Goals was published in 2015, it was along with Paris Agreement of Climate. So right now, 5 years has passed, and nothing has happened. No, the countries are not taking action. The countries are not compromising to reduce the carbon footprint. And that's not only because of citizens, but because of policies. So it is important to highlight the protest right now in social media and how we can continue fighting for 1.5. So I'm letting you these two campaigns if you want to consult it. We also have it on the Youth Building the Future Global website. And for 2021, we know a specific campaign that just came 2 days ago, which is by UN Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez, which is the COVID-19 response, gender equality, climate and biodiversity, poverty and inequality, peace and crisis prevention, nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation, sustainable and inclusive recovery, human rights, digital technologies, and 21st century reset. We know that the COVID-19, our societies, the economic supply chains, and all the connections that were created before the pandemic now are changing and evolving to a new global reset, which is not only social, but also economic, and also the social contract, the relationship between us as individuals and the relationship with a government, with the authority. Everything is changing, but it actually has to change so we can understand the impact that was created for 70 years and the um, threats that it's coming because of this irresponsible consumption and production. So I'm going to share now um, the sustainable development goals section, the Youth4SDGS section on the webpage, Youth Building the Future Global. I'd invite you, everyone, to consult the webpage. I think on the comment section there is the link. If you want to visit it, you can translate the webpage to any language, so you can find a little bit more about the Sustainable Development Goals. This is a select section where you can find a link to the primary information direct from UN in each SDG. And also we have a video section. I would love to share some videos, but also because of time of the session, I can't, but you can find here a section of videos selected for understanding the Sustainable Development Goals a little bit better, some conference, some webinars. So I invite you to consult the Youth4SDGS website. Also, we have some series, some videos, and more conferences in this part, and some documentaries, not only talking about climate change, climate action, but also inspiring histories, just as becoming from Michelle Obama, and how women need more presence in politics and in sports. For example, Sumo Girl, which is on Netflix, and more information. We also have a journal, a kind of magazine and blog where you can share your thoughts, your information, or any research that you're working on the webpage. This is published, and you have a specific number ID, so it can be recognized globally. And here you can find more information about it. If you want to publish, if you have a friend that is interested in academia and publishing some documents, you can definitely contact the link on the description, and you can publish your documents. Right now, we focus a campaign of generation equality, when we citizens learn a little bit more of how we can empower women, how we can create more activities, more presence for women and young girls in our societies, as a man, as a societies, as a company. So you can click in any of the images and you will get more information. Also, we have here more information about it. We have a global change maker network where you can consult information about people that's taking action for inspiring your projects, and also the links for the session when you can go to our Facebook group, WhatsApp group, Telegram groups in different languages, and also Goodwill, which is an amazing app when you can create a network you can be networking with people from all over the world, and also you can donate for Youth4SDGs, and you receive go and visit the store. So for that, thank you everybody for listening. I can see if there are any questions. So let's go to questions, and I'm giving the word to Hossein. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Roberto, a lot about your on your slides, and the website was awesome. And just one thing I want to add is that I was looking some days ago on some campaigns and projects that belong to Indonesian organization, and also add that I'm the IOAsian ambassador in Iran, which is an Indonesian organization. Well, they have been really a lot advanced in the climate action and all those SDGs. And the destination between Iran and Indonesia is not that much far. They're both in the same continent. But the thing that I was just seeing was that all these action or these campaigns were some youth building actions. I mean, there were some youth, there were some young people behind these action, and it was no government, just government didn't enroll with them. It was all with young people. And this is the thing that I'm not really seeing in Iran's community, because until now I didn't see any Iranian community or campaign for the SDGs. And I hope after that session, people, because I know a lot of people come from Iran in this session, I hope they can connect and just take actions for the SDGs. I'll put a link to my contact options in the chat box, so they can take actions. And if they're confusing and they don't know where to start, they can just DM me on Instagram or send me emails. I'll answer them. And now there is another tool that I'll now share my screen. And I just want to show you, there is a community called Goodwall. Let me just show this. Here it is. Well, Goodwall is an application that connect youth from different countries all over the world together to talk about different subjects. They have a lot of great challenges, and actually it was Goodwall that connected me to those international organizations. We had some sessions with the UN and Open 17 challenge also. So it was Goodwall, which was the connection bridge between me and the United Nations. So it was a really useful app. They have also some challenges that award money to people. They have opportunities tab. They have some parts for the university interns, some scholarship part, which is really amazing, and you can use it a lot. And it doesn't have any region limitations, so people from all over the world can use it. And I just want to add something, that people who are already participating in that webinar, please stay until the end of the webinar, because we will share a link. And via that link, you can get your electronic certificates. So here is from Goodwall. Roberto, if you have anything to add, or if there are any questions that you want to answer.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Hussein. I see some people are commenting that they're already on the Woodwall app, so that's great. And yeah, as I was sharing here on the let me share my screen again. As I was sharing here in priorities on the last slide. Oh, I also have sorry. This slide just wanted to highlight because I think it's a good resume, different from the Sustainable Development Agenda and all the colors that we're seeing. I think in these images we're also seeing the Sustainable Development Agenda, of course, fighting poverty, inequality, peace, digital, human rights, but we're also seeing it in a different way. So by saying this, I want to highlight, to focus, and to invite everybody to find a way that they can change, that they can act for sustainable development. there are a lot of examples on the world. We've seen Malala Yousafzai, we've seen Greta Thunberg, we've seen Amanda Goodfriel on the United States. So I think just to end the session, I think we are all change makers. We all can create an impact in our communities, in our family. So don't you feel small? Don't you feel that you cannot take actions for your community and for climate change, for gender equality, or for a better education? I think we all can have a power on ourselves, and just creating a network, working with more people, is that we can increase this impact. So don't be afraid, just as my last comment, don't be afraid of facts, still continue. The fact that you're participating on the session, which is really small, which is not the kind of massive event when you get a lot of information, it is important just to understand how we can achieve the sustainable development goals. So I really just want to thank everybody. And for more information, you can contact us to any of our social media. We are on Goodwill, Facebook, Twitter, and all possible social media, so we can also reach more people. And if you have any question on about the sustainable development goals, or specifically, or to visit more conferences or videos that we share, there's also the profile on YouTube, and you can access to other videos that we had in the past, but that is, the information is still very active, very presently. So yeah.
Yeah, I also send a link, which is b2n.ir/certificate LA. You can use this link to get your e-certificate. Just go in that link, enter your full name and your email address. You will get your certificate, your digital certificate, immediately in your email inbox. And thank you a lot for coming into this session. Roberto, I think some of the participants want this permission to talk. Just give them this permission. I think one of them wants it.
Yeah, I'm giving access to Nabia right now. Please, Nabia.
If you have any
Your
other question,
presentation
feel free
about
to ask.
SDG. Yeah, I'm just a bit confused, like how we can help you to succeed in your projects. Like I'm interested in SDGs. Firstly, I never know that what are SDGs before I attended Open 17 Water Challenge program. So I'm, pursuing my career in sustainable development. I guess I like social studies very much. So do we get chance to write in your magazine? Like I am a writer. Uh, if I don't know if you ever watch my videos on Goodwall, but
Yes,
I'm most yeah, I really like to write. So it will be an honor for me to write in your amazing magazine articles about, educational stuff about gender equality, about climate change, because I am from India and here we have all that gender equality problems.
Yes. Well, we have a journal, an online magazine, which is the Inner Circle magazine, and the main purpose is helping youth around the world in, their social problems, education, this kind of stuff. I'll put my contact option and also our Instagram page. You can contact us there and send your proposal or DM us there if you want to work with us. We have several upcoming events and projects. And also Roberto has a lot of projects on his website. You can go and see them, and you can have this chance to write your own journals on our website. Feel free to contact us and we will be talking to you. And if it is possible, you can even get become an ambassador of your own region.
Yeah, so also replying to Nabaya, thank you so much for your question. Yeah, I wanna open the invitation to everyone again. Just as the Sustainable Development Agenda by itself, it's nothing with ourselves, with people action. The same is for the blog and for the journal. The journal by itself, it's nothing more than a project, but with your participation, we're creating something special, something that becomes a reality. So everybody feel welcome to publish, to send your articles, and be sure that we also want to share it. I've seen some videos of Navia and Goodwill, but I also want to invite everyone so we can publish on Facebook, on Goodwill, on Twitter, on YouTube, on all the platforms. Because as I was saying before, it is important to highlight this global connection and global partnerships. By itself, we all can have an impact, but together, as Goodwill says, it's better together. So let's spread knowledge, let's share knowledge, and let's continue working on. Here's my email and my I don't want to share my WhatsApp number because then I just got a lot of messages. But you can find it on my Facebook profile if you're interested. Then you will find it, and yeah, it will be a pleasure to continue working these lines because not only one session can tell everybody and everything about sustainable development and SDGs. As I was telling you before, there are some really specialized documents when we can know more if we have a career in economics and sustainable development, social studies, and medicine, or AI and technologies. We can understand how to achieve sustainable development from a specific field. So mechanics and electrical, it's something where you can find a lot of opportunities, as Hossein was sharing also, not only for scholarships, but also for new topics, new lines to write, or to learn a little bit more about. So I think that's the only thing I want to share. And think just everybody don't feel afraid, don't feel pressure, but we're waiting for your message.
Yes, and especially in Middle East, I know a lot of participants we have from Asia, and because I'm already living in this continent, I know that the situation is really harder for Asians to get involved with that, stuff. Because in Europe, in United States, we have this culture that schools and organizations connect students directly to the projects, to UN. But here, the situations, unfortunately, are really different, and we have to take action ourselves. And don't be afraid of having a different concept, having a different goal than others, because they are the people who think that their goals are different, will be more successful because they want to make something revolutionary and something new in their communities. So these are our contact options. I'll also put a link for Roberto's website in the chat, so you can contact them and put your articles or your thoughts in our both journal. And as we have participants from, I think, 8 or 9 countries: Chad, Bulgaria, Afghanistan, India, Iran, Mexico, Indonesia, and some more, Nigeria, some more countries. So I think that's a great opportunity to, just film a video, a 1-minute video for Goodwill. I'll contact with our participants after the session via email, and I will request people who want to be in that video, just be with us. We will just prepare a script to film it and put it on Goodwill as a 1-minute video, to just bring other youth from all over the world to join our community, to take action for the SDGs, and especially youth from Asia, which has the most youth all over the world, but the activity is really lower than the global average. So thank you everyone for joining us in that session. I'll again send a link that you can get your certificates from that link. Here it is. I'll send it.
Yeah, just
After
before
filling that form, you get your certificate. Roberto, if you have anything to say, you can add.
Yeah, just before ending the session, also Navia, we have already a group on Telegram and WhatsApp with 1,000 people. So 100,000. Yeah, more than 1,000 people, which is 1K, 1K.6
Yeah, 1K.
on Facebook. So yeah, it is important to join. So if you are interested, we already have it, so you can have your information with more people. And if everyone feel free to please open your webcam so we can take a photo and also share it on our social
Yes,
media.
on social medias. Yeah.
Please just give a little smile because we don't know if they're still active or no.
Yes, you can open your webcams. You have this permission, so we can take a picture and put it on our social medias.
Okay, let's just with the people that has already their cam on, just give a little smile and 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. I'm not taking more time
Thank
of
you,
your
everyone.
day. So see you till next time.
Thank you a lot for joining us in this session. We will let you know the upcoming events via email. See you soon. Bye-bye.